Hi guys, welcome back. Go grab yourself a tea or a coffee or a Coke or whatever you drink, because we're going to chat today again. My name's Corey. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you've been around for a while. So we're going to talk about a 2026 no-buy year / low-buy year. I think it's impossible to do an absolutely zero no-buy year because you have to buy food. Unless you're living in a situation where you don't pay for your food, lucky you. So I think you have to spend some money in your life. I don't think you can get away with spending zero. But I was thinking about it because, you know, New Year's resolutions and all that stuff. But also because, well, I guess the end goal is to save money. Right? Now, every time you do, people call them challenges, whatever, no buy year, low buy year challenge. You gotta have some rules, and the rules are personal to you, basically. Now, I was thinking about this, and I have my little written down piece of paper, because that's how my brain works. And the first rule, I guess, for me, or guideline, whatever you want to call, is I have to buy groceries. So that's non-negotiable. So I'm going to be spending money on groceries. I have cats. There's one sleeping right next to you. I have a lot of cats. So I have to pay for cat food and cat litter. Ugh. The amount of litter I go through is astonishing. I have 3 litter boxes, huge ones. But so that's, you have to think of your expenses. The first thing you have to do is think about your expenses that you can't really change. You know, are you paying rent? Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I recently bought a truck. We are now a family that has a driver's license and somebody can drive. So we went out and bought a truck. So I have debt in the terms of paying for this truck. Right? So we got to pay it off. So what would you have a truck, and then that means you have insurance, which means you're paying gas, which means you're paying license plates. Currently it is January 3rd here. Yep, Saturday, January 3rd. So we're in winter time. So we have winter tires on our truck. We have to buy rims for our spring summer tires. Unless you're just going to switch out the tires, but it's a pain. It's more of a pain to do that. It's easier to just put them on rims. So I know that's an expense that's coming that I don't. You kind of have a choice, you kind of don't. So you got to like sit down and write down everything and figure out what you have to spend, and then have another column writing down what you're spending, because sometimes it adds up. Sometimes you don't even notice. You know, like I went into my Amazon orders, you know, and checked, and I'm paying for like this subscription and this subscription and stuff like that. And so it starts to add up. So I would get yourself organized, sit down, find out what you're paying for, etc., etc. And, you know, we're going to do an audit on what we're buying. Hey, hey, hey. See? See? That's Spicy Bean. Starting to scratch on the walls. I'm telling you. Cats. Okay, so what else is a need that I kind of have to pay for? So I do a lot of gardening. I do a lot of growing of seeds and seedlings and tomato plants, etc., etc. I used to do this for my... in general, I used to do it for myself all the time, but I used to do this for my old job as part of a volunteer community thing, where I would grow everything and I would pay for everything, and I would take it to the place I was working at, and I would sell it for them, and they would get the money. So I never saw any money for it. It was done, you know, for like a community whatever thing. Well, I'm not there no more. So whatever I'm going to be growing for the garden growing season, we'll call it, that's a necessity to me. So if I have to start seeds, we're in January right now in Quebec, Canada. It is currently like minus 26 out. We're covered in snow. We can't do nothing. If I have to buy a bag of dirt to start some seeds, then that is a necessary expense for me, because that bag of dirt could grow 200 tomato plants, and I'm going to sell those tomato plants for either $2 or $3 each. So it's kind of like a side job, a side hustle, because I do have a full-time job. So it's kind of like another way to make money, but I think it's also important in general because, you're growing food for people type thing. So I like that. So another issue or necessity with me, not an issue, I guess, is I have this channel, Zero Waste Homestead, and I have another channel that's my original channel called Phoenix and the Noms. It's named after my son. When he was very young, he wanted a YouTube channel, so we started doing stuff. And then later on, he's not interested. So, but I am a vintage toy collector. I collect My Little Pony toys from the 1980s, as well as some of the newer stuff. So the toys I collect are no longer produced. You need to get them on the second-hand market, which is what I like about it too, because, you're not buying new, you're buying old. So I have a massive collection, and I've been collecting these things since I was 4, and I'm now 46. I love them. It's a passion. I actually have a room in my apartment full. That's how much it is. But the whole point of how it ties into a low buy year is that sometimes people will sell their collection, or sell part of their collection, or downsize their collection. Sometimes you'll go to thrift stores or whatever, Facebook Marketplace, and you'll find people selling them in a lot, and I'll buy the whole lot. Or I get contacted by people saying, hey, I want to downsize, I want to sell my collection, are you interested? So I'm like, okay, no problem. Let me know the quantity you have and how much you're asking and blah, blah, blah. And if the math works out, then I usually purchase it for them. So that is an expense. So I'm not doing it. I am not a reseller, because I know there's people that go out and buy everything just to resell whatever. That's not the goal. The goal is I buy the stuff, I clean it up. The better stuff, the better conditioned stuff goes into my collection. The stuff I'm missing from my collection goes into my collection, because that's the whole point of getting this stuff, is I want to continue and complete my collection. The extra stuff, like the doubles and the triples or whatever, the stuff I don't need, that goes to be traded with other collectors. So you trade a pony for a pony type thing. And if we can't trade, then I sell. And then I make money cash. Because I'm also trying to recoup my investment of buying this stuff in the first place. So that's another thing. So I have a list of different needs: groceries, pets, the gardening side, the extravagant pony side, because I run another thing that has to be considered is I run a My Little Pony convention that takes place in Quebec, Canada, and it is open for any pony collector around the world to attend. We have had attendance from all over the world, and that's an expense. You have to rent the hall, you have to pay for the lunch, you have to do everything. But the money for that, the event has to pay for the event. That was a cat, a spicy bean, and now he knocked over my paper. So anyways, it's another expense. It's something else to think about, but the money for the event is supposed to be coming from the event. It didn't for the first few years, because you're trying to get this event up and running. It's not a huge event, but it's still an event. So every person is going to have a different list of needs. I have a boyfriend / husband, whatever. We're not married on paper. I have a teenage son. So teenage son is going to school, and he needs transportation to school. So he's taking the bus. So you have to buy bus tickets, right? So it's like a necessity. You don't have a choice but to get him bus tickets, because the other option is to tell him to take a taxi, which is 10 times more expensive. So bus tickets it is. So another thing that ties in is that I do zero waste. I'm now going to go do a low buy year for 2026. And there's something called the pantry challenge. This is something I've been unknowingly doing most of my life because that's the way we were raised. It's to eat the food in the house. So you have pantries, you have a fridge, you have the little freezer in the fridge. I live in a duplex apartment, house, whatever. Upstairs, my mother-in-law lives there, but our freezer is up there. It's like a 7-foot long rectangular freezer, and we share the freezer. So the idea is that the low by year and the zero waste, the stop food waste, will be with a pantry challenge. So everything in the house needs to be eaten before you get other stuff. Okay? Because what happens is you buy stuff and you put it in your pantry, and then, you know, you're eating the food, and then you get to something and you're like, nah, I don't really feel like that today. I'm not gonna eat it. I'll eat it next week. And next week comes and you don't eat it. And it lives in the back of your pantry or whatever, and you buy new. And you keep buying new, and you keep putting it in front of other stuff. That's what happens to my freezer. My freezer, I have been informed by my mother-in-law, is full upstairs. I didn't know that because I almost never go upstairs to get stuff. It's my boyfriend who goes upstairs, and I'm like, hey, do you have any peppers? He's like, yeah, they're upstairs. So he goes upstairs and brings them down. So this low buy year is going to be in conjunction with a pantry challenge to eat what's in the house. And in terms, have less spending on groceries. So that also ties into restaurant eating. Because sometimes we do Uber Eats, sometimes we go out to eat, sometimes we were going out to breakfast once a week, you know? And so, not that it's going to stop, but it's going to cut down. So for example, today is Saturday, so it would have been a day to go out to breakfast with my family. I decided I'm not going. I don't want to go. Plus, when you do it every single week, there's only so much on the menu, and it gets boring, to be honest. Sometimes. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going, you guys go. So they're gone, and they just came back actually, so I'm doing this video now. So in terms of my family, they have their own money. So we're not like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like if I buy something, it doesn't affect him. If he buys something, it doesn't affect me, unless we're talking about a big purchase. You know, the kid needs his bus pass, so we have to buy his bus pass type thing. Unless we're buying something big. So it depends. I don't know what the need is going to be. You can't predict something happening or a need in the future. So another thing we're doing is, when I said you need to find out where your money's going, is if you have like a whole bunch of subscriptions to like Netflix and Crave TV and like all these things and music services and whatever, you need to like sit down and decide, like, are you going to continue? So right now it's time to take stock, take inventory, and cancel. So I'm going to be working on canceling some stuff that we pay for and seeing how that goes. There's something I do notice that I do a lot for people, to help people, is I'll get a call and they'll be like, hey, are you going here? Can you pick that up for me? And I'll pick it up for them, and normally they pay me back. This is done to help people. This is now that, like I said, now that we have a truck, and I'm going to be like, hey, you know, mom or somebody, I'm going to Walmart, or I'm going to Maxi grocery store, what do you need? And I'll pick it up for you, and then you pay me for it later. And I do that for friends and family and whatever, and I've always done that. But the issue is, sometimes you don't get paid back for it. So this is a very, very hard one for me. So either I have to start saying no, which is not in my nature to do that, to, you know, for convenience, because when we didn't have a car or a driver's license, we relied on other people when we were stuck. So now that we can help those people, I'm going to help those people because they helped us. So I'm still going to get stuff for people, but I need to make sure they pay me back. I think so, you know, it's like, okay, here it is, it's $10.99, whatever, give it to me, can I have the money, please? So I have to be more assertive, and I have to make sure I get paid back. So we're coming to the end. Why? The question is, why? Why do the pantry challenge, the low buy year? What's the goal? Okay, so I say so a lot. in general, low buy years or no buy years are done to save money. That's the end result. You're doing it to save money. That brings the question of, why are you saving money? What for? Are you saving money just to put it in the bank for it to sit there? Are you saving money for your retirement? Or is there a big purchase or something you want to do coming up? For example, which you find funny, is recording this video, my camera just died. It just went off. Decided to go off. And it's been doing that for a long time. Off and on, very sporadically. So I didn't have the end of the video and I have to redo it. Because this camera is like 20 years old. And I never light the camera because it doesn't have a display. Like, stop it. Spicy bean again. So I'm looking at the camera. I couldn't tell you if I'm focused or out of focus or whatever. I could be doing this whole thing, put it into my computer to find out it's no good. I can't even use it. I have to do it again. So, is the goal to buy a new camera? Oh my goodness. He's going after my paper. He's going after my Sharpie. Get on your bed. Get on your bed. I'm going to tell everybody you're a terrorist. Yeah. So anyways, it's like another kid. Are you leaving now? You leaving? Alright. So what's the goal? There has to be a goal. So maybe at the end of all this, I'll buy a new camera. But then you got to think, do I need to buy a new camera? I have a GoPro and I have a cell phone. So maybe I'll try and record on those and see what it looks like and stuff like that. The batteries in this camera are no longer holding a charge either. So you charge them for days and they just run out super fast, or I take them out of the charger, excuse me, and they're not even charged. Okay, now you guys are really gonna laugh because what happened? The microphone cut out, so I have the video, I don't have my voice, so I'm gonna be doing a voiceover now. So we're talking about end goals and the whole reason for doing this challenge. So we talked about the camera. Now the other thing is I do trash walks. So if you know, I have a little cart that I take around doing trash walks, and the cart is literally falling apart, but it's still usable. But there is a bigger, nicer cart thing I've been eyeing. It's like $100 something. So maybe the goal at the end would be to buy the new cart. But like I said, again, it's not one of those necessity things, you know? Now, another issue here is my stove. We have been without a working stove for like 10 months to a year, I think. I'm not sure how long exactly. So basically the element in the stove caught on fire, it blew up, threw a spark or whatever you call it, and it cracked in half. So you can't use the stove part, which again, not the end of the world. We got a toaster oven and we got one of those Emerald Lagasse air fryers that open up with big French doors so you can fit like a 12-inch pizza in it, and it bakes and air fries and does all kinds of stuff, and it's working. It's no problem, so it's not the end of the world. At the same time, a long time ago, even longer than before the element broke, a piece of wood from renovations fell onto the glass counter and smashed a corner of the counter. So we stuck a piece of tape and we kept using the 4 burners. Well, fast forward, and we kept using the burner, and it was taking longer and longer for the burner to work, and it ended up cracking the glass more. So we just put a bigger piece of tape, and we kind of don't use that burner anymore. So I'm down to 3 burners, and the toaster oven and the air fryer, whatever machine. So in the end, it's working, but maybe at the end of the year, we'll use this money we're saving to buy a new stove. Or what we wanted to do, we were thinking about, is just buying the flat top, because you can buy just the flat top apparently, and then underneath the flat top you would have all the storage space in your kitchen. So I don't know. So there has to be a goal. I'm curious if you guys are going to do this, if you're going to take part, and I will see you in the new year.